All right, so we're going to talk about interval notation, just review it because it's still very important pre-cal. We're going to review what a function is, and then we are going to practice solving for y. So when you walk out the door at the end of the class today, if you can solve for y, then you accomplished your goal for today. But let me back up and talk about different ways of notation. So the first one that we're going to talk about, this one is the most important interval notation. We're going to just review these others just for the sake of reviewing. Please remember that if it's part equal, it is shaded. And of course, if it's shaded, you always get a bracket. And remember, if it's an inequality that's not part equal, remember it's not shaded, and you always have a parenthesis. And this set notation, don't let that throw you for a loop. Don't be nervous about that at all. All you do is use this template every single time, and you just copy whatever the inequality is. You just copy it right there, exactly. This is always the template that you're going to use. All right, let's go ahead and fill in the table. So for this first example, we just have x is less than or equal to a 3. So I'm going to draw the number line first. So I'm going to draw a closed circle on 3, and if the x's are less than, we are shading all the way down and including the arrow. So that's what the shading is going to look like. I'm going to skip interval notation for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and write set notation because remember, I can't draw braces good, guys. Just pretend that looks right. So remember, it's this template. You literally just copy that over here. So this is just x is less than or equal to 3. All right, so for interval notation, every time an arrow is shaded, you are always going to have an infinity symbol in your answer. We have one arrow shaded. We're going to have one infinity answer in our answer. So it is going to be negative infinity to 3. And then how do I wrap this up? What symbol do I draw right there? Yeah, good job. That's right. All right. We're moving on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. So remember when I asked you to get a highlighter out? I would make sure I highlight this. This one is very, very important. You're going to see this either on a test or a quiz. So what we're going to do is, let me go ahead and just copy set notation. So trying to draw my best braces right here, and I'm literally copying that, even the word or. So this is going to be x is less than or negative 1, the word or. X is greater than or equal to a 5. And then before I fill in interval notation, let me shade the number line. So when I shade the number line, we're going to draw an open circle at the negative 1. And remember, we want x's to be less than. So we will shade all the way down, including that arrow. Or x is greater than or equal to 5. Y'all, I know 5 isn't on the number line. Let's just sketch it right here. And go ahead and draw a circle and do color it in. And we want all the values that are greater, including 5. So, again, for every arrow that you see, that's how many infinity symbols you're going to draw. We have 2 shaded arrows. We have to have 2 infinity symbols in our answer. So, when you have an or statement, this or all that, the way that you write it in interval notation is you use the union symbol. And it kind of looks like a U, but it's not really a U. It stands for union. And the word union means the same exact thing as or. You don't write the word or in interval notation. We're going to use this. So when we read this number line, just like a sentence from left to right, we are going to start with negative infinity. And the shading stops with the open circle at negative 1. So we're going to make sure we have a parenthesis there. Then we're going to draw this symbol, or. So we're going to jump over the space that's not shaded and pick up where it's shaded again. So I'm going to write a 5 with a bracket. and then I'm going to go ahead and finish with a positive infinity. So are there any questions on what this is and when to use it? Because that's pretty important. Okay, then we're going to be moving on here. All right, let's fill in this table. So again, set notation, inequality notation. I just copy the part on the inside. So your inequality notation is going to look like this. Now remember, our previous one, this was an or statement because it had the word or. This is an and statement, and the only reason why I know it's an and statement is because the X is in the middle. When the X is in the middle, it is an and statement. And statements, like you won't ever write the word and you won't have any weird symbols. You're only going to have a weird symbol when it's an or. So let me go ahead and shade a number line so you can kind of see why it's an and statement. Y'all don't have to draw this if you don't want to. Just watch me and I'll do it. So we want 2, we want 6, and if I'm shading, they are both going to have closed circles because it's part equal. And that is the only part that we want. So if you notice, when it's shaded, there's no arrow shaded. So if there's no arrow shaded, you are not going to have an infinity symbol in your answer. So the way that you write all and statements in interval notation, it almost looks like an ordered pair, but these are going to have brackets because they're filled in, they're colored in. So that's what and statements look like. And statements do not have infinity symbols. Any questions on that one? Oh, y'all, has it been doing that the whole time? It's all blurry. Okay.
It goes in and out.
Let me hit autofocus lock. Maybe that'll be good. All right, let's keep moving on. Okay, so again, I know it's an and statement just because X is in the middle. So my set notation, I'm just going to recopy it in this format. And then remember your interval notation, there's not going to be an infinity symbol. It's just going to be from 1 to 4. And we're going to draw parentheses because we don't include them. Okay. Any questions? That's a review for interval notation.